So as you can see, we got the wheel and tire onto the car. Everything fits pretty good. It's good as far as spacing up top and around and behind it. The fender's kind of in place, mocked up. It's going to be a little bit close up front, but this fender needs to go up and forward a little bit, so should be perfectly fine to clear. This fender, like I said, is not set up in the right spot at all. This is just kind of mock-up purposes. And man, I will say I've done some other mock-up, as you'll see in a second. This just, it's all kind of coming together, and it all, to me, looks really cool. But the more I look at it, the more I have two thoughts go through my head. Man, this is cool, but man, this is kind of stupid. But it's kind of that perfect balance that almost makes you like it even more. I know there's glare from the sun, you won't be able to see as much, but got the kind of snaggletooth grill in place. Kind of, it doesn't really want to stay. So the problem is, you see this lower tie bar, I guess I'll call it, lower grill support, tie bar, whatever you want to call it. That is 68 and 69, no problem, they interchange. This is a 69. This upper tray is a 69. 68 is different. As you see, a 69 bolts on with 4 screws right here. A 68 has 3 screws on each side, so that's 6 screws, and the spacing is a little bit different. So I either need to find, well, that was dramatic, need to either find a different upper tray, or I need to just secure that with zip ties, roadkill style. Either way, it should mount good enough and work good enough. And we got the other wheel and tire on, as you can see. And this side looks even better, because this fender, like I said, this is just mock-up, but this fender is actually in place. It's on the stud on the bottom. It's on the stud in here. Still needs to go in a little bit on one side, but up front it is held on kind of back there with a bolt, just loosely. But yeah, so you can kind of see the wheel tire placement within the kind of wheel arch, wheel well here. So as you can see, there's inch of clearance or so, which that should be fine. I don't see any problems even with turning it. I don't see that should be really a big problem, but I don't know. I think it turned out kind of cool. As you may have seen earlier, I did a short on what the heck happened to this brake drum, and the evidence is all right there. Somebody with a torch cut out the inside of the brake drum, because I'm assuming the brakes were locked up or seized up or something, and they wanted to get the car to roll in a junkyard, and that was apparently the easiest way to do it when they were messing with it. So that's butchery at its finest. But yeah, this is a pretty good fender. It's got a little bit of rust in a couple spots, but it's actually really a pretty good fender. Might end up going with this fender on the car. It's kind of cool. It kind of matches the gold wheels. I do have a 1968 door for this side to fill this gap and kind of make the side of the car almost look complete. But we're not gonna kind of get into that right now. It's just a shell of a door. It doesn't even have the wing window or any internal mechanism. It's just kind of a shell, as if it was just kind of put there for mock-up. So that's all the purpose that would serve. But in the future, not in this video, but in the future, we're going to be taking some of this stuff out of the interior, cleaning the car out, and figuring out how it kind of looks inside, because we haven't really looked inside too much. Obviously it needs work to the floors and a lot of other places, but it might not be that bad, but it might be a whole lot worse. But we'll see what happens with that. As far as like dents and bodywork, we have a porta power. We could pop a lot of it out, but obviously not a ton I can do about that. This looks like a topographical map. So straightening that out is unlikely. But one thing that is possible, and definitely would be open to hearing your thoughts on it. We do have a friend that has several 1968 or 69 for that fact. It doesn't really matter as far as what I'm talking about. But 4-doors that you could cut the car right about like this, cut the back end of a 4-door off, and fix the rear half of the frame rails, the rear half of the quarters. You'd have to get a new rear window filler panel because this is 2-door specific, but that would actually solve a lot of problems all at once. And he might even have one that has a good trunk pan, but that's something to look at in the future. Next thing that's going to happen to this is maybe a little bit more mock-up. I need to find a trunk lid for it. I don't have a trunk lid, but I have a taillight extension for that side. I should have a pair of taillights. Rear bumper is something that we have, and front bumper we have, so that should not be a problem. The rear end is like a 7 1/4 or something tiny. That's got to go, obviously, so we're going to be swapping that out with a B-body 8 3/4 out of like a 68 through 70. One of the main reasons that's got to go sooner than later is on both sides the shackles are cut, so that's a little bit of a problem. And the front perch areas, there's supposed to be 4 bolts on each side. I think I checked, there's 2 bolts on one side and only 1 or 2 on the other side. So basically a couple of bolts and gravity is the only thing holding this rear end in. So that's that'll be fine. That's not a problem. But we're gonna change it anyways. And then we can get those other wheels and tires, and this car will actually probably be sitting pretty close to level. So definitely excited to see how that looks. So more updates and information on this car. One thing I want to be very, very clear about, I am not cutting up this car in any way that would affect its potential future restoration capabilities. What I mean by that is I'm not cutting out any structure of the car. I'm not chopping anything up. I'm not lengthening or taking any length away from any parts of the car. It is staying a 1968 Roadrunner unibody. You know, none of that's changing. And I'm not putting any other frame under it or anything like that. I know the name, the off-road runner, kind of sets the tone of, oh, well, this is going to be an off-road car. Yeah, it's going to kind of have that look. It's going to be a little bit like that, but there's a secondary meaning behind that. The off-road runner. There's definitely something off about this Roadrunner. So I thought it was kind of funny. Me and my dad were talking about that. My dad actually named the car the off-road runner, so definitely credit to him and his creativity when it comes to coming up with names for stuff at times. But yeah, there's not a whole lot more to cover. It will be a big block. It will be an automatic transmission if everything goes according to plan. Big block, automatic, either a 400 or a 383. I have a good running 1973 400 and automatic transmission in a car that runs on the property, that I could pull that out, pressure wash it, put headers in a 4-barrel intake on, and it would be a heck of a runner. No pun intended, Roadrunner. But I also have a 1973-83 that was supposedly rebuilt that could be taken apart to an extent, looked at, make sure it's all clean inside, put back together, and tried to put in place here. That's another possibility. I also, for either of those engines, have a 509 purple cam with lifters. That is a tested, proven cam. So that might be something of interest as well. But all these things are speculation at this point in time. Nothing's for sure. But definitely, if you want to see more stuff like this, if you want to see the off-road runner, and as you can see around many other projects, definitely consider like and subscribe and all that stuff. It really helps out the channel grow, and it really helps keep me motivated and on the right track to actually get stuff out and to work on stuff and to get videos for you guys to watch. And definitely all the positive support and comments are greatly appreciated. So, but yeah, just kind of an update on what's happened. And this car has been here for 2 days, and I will say I cannot put a ton of time into this car. I really have to get back to work on the Super Bee over there. I'm on a short time limit to get that done, and once that's done, then I can work on the off-road runner. But it's just going to kind of be little small bits and pieces, like cleaning out the interior and maybe swapping that rear end and a couple other little things, and coming up with a plan between now and when I get the Super Bee done. So definitely look for more videos on the Super Bee and some other stuff coming up. There's going to be some cool stuff happening hopefully in the next coming few weeks, and going into the No-Name Nationals and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I'm going to cut it there. I've talked way too long, and I'll see you guys in the next one.